You have been sold a specific version of happiness. It is a glossy, high-definition image that lives in the back of your mind. In this image, you are standing on a balcony overlooking a city or a coastline. You are holding a glass of something expensive. You look calm, you look arrived. But most importantly, in this image, you are safe. You are untouchable. And the prerequisite for this image, the entry fee for this state of being, is a specific number in a bank account. A number that is always just slightly higher than the one you currently possess. You believe, with a conviction that borders on religious faith, that the pursuit of more is the pursuit of life itself. You have conflated net worth with self-worth and accumulation with security. You tell yourself that you are doing this for your family, for your future, for your freedom. You tell yourself that once you hit that milestone, once the portfolio reaches that critical mass, you will finally exhale. You will finally be present. You will finally love the life you are living. But I am here to tell you that this is the most dangerous illusion you will ever entertain. It is a mathematical impossibility designed by a system that feeds on your hunger. The pursuit of more money is not a path to freedom. It is a mechanism of estrangement. It is slowly, methodically, and silently destroying the very things you claim to be working for. It is eating your time, it is eroding your relationships, and it is hollowing out your capacity to feel joy in the present moment. You are trading the only reality you have, the now, for a fantasy future that, even if it arrives, will not feel the way you think it will. This is not a condemnation of wealth. Money is a tool, a neutral resource. This is a dissection of the pursuit, the obsession, the psychological architecture that keeps you running on a treadmill that is calibrated to destroy your soul while promising to save it. We need to look at the blood on the gears. We need to look at why, despite having more than 99% of humans who have ever lived, you still feel a gnawing, low-grade anxiety thrumming beneath your ribcage. The problem begins with the promise of the system. From the moment you were old enough to understand language, you were indoctrinated into a cult of deferred gratification. You were taught that the present moment is flawed, incomplete, and insufficient. You were taught that satisfaction is a destination, a place you arrive at after you have suffered enough, worked hard enough, and accumulated enough. The system, this complex matrix of economy, culture, and social conditioning, thrives on your dissatisfaction. If you were content with what you have, the economy would collapse. The entire machinery of modern civilization is lubricated by your envy, your insecurity, and your desire for more. You feel this, don't you? The subtle vibration of inadequacy. You look at your life, and instead of seeing what is there, you see what is missing. You look at your home, and you see the renovations it needs. You look at your car, and you see the newer model on the highway. You look at your partner, and you see the stress of bills rather than the miracle of companionship. This is not an accident. This is the lack mentality programmed into you. It is a lens that refracts light in a way that makes everything you possess look dull, and everything you don't possess look golden. This pursuit creates a specific kind of blindness. When you are fixated on the horizon, you cannot see the ground beneath your feet. You become a ghost in your own life. You sit at the dinner table, physically present, but your mind is calculating, strategizing, worrying about the next quarter, the next deal, the market fluctuation. Your child tells you a story, and you hear the noise, but you miss the meaning. Your partner reaches for your hand and you feel the skin, but you don't feel the connection. You are there, but you are not there. You are living in a hypothetical future where you are rich, and in doing so, you are bankrupting your present. If this resonates, consider subscribing. But here is the twist, the shift in perspective that changes everything. This feeling of emptiness, this exhaustion you feel from the endless chase, it is not a sign that you are failing. It is not a sign that you need to work harder. It is a sign that your soul is still alive. It is a signal from the deepest part of your being, screaming at you to wake up. The pain is not the problem. The pain is the messenger. The anxiety you feel is your integrity fighting against your conditioning. It is your true self rejecting the artificial implant of consumerist ideology. You're not depressed because you don't have enough money. You are depressed because you have been trying to feed a spiritual hunger with material calories. You are trying to solve an existential problem with an economic solution, and deep down, you know it isn't working. You know that the hit of dopamine you get from a purchase or a paycheck lasts for a moment, and then the hunger returns sharper than before. This realization, as painful as it is the beginning of your freedom. It is the moment you stop pulling on the finger trap. Let us deconstruct this with the help of those who saw through the veil long before us. Arthur Schopenhauer, the German philosopher of pessimism, described life as a pendulum swinging violently between pain and boredom. When we lack something, we feel the pain of desire. When we get it, we feel the boredom of satiety. The pursuit of money is the ultimate accelerator of this pendulum. You desire the wealth, pain. You get the wealth. You adapt to it instantly, hedonic adaptation, and then you are bored. So you set a higher target, creating new pain. Schopenhauer argued that the will to live, that blind, driving force within us, is insatiable. It cannot be satisfied by consumption. To think that more money will cure your angst is like thinking that drinking salt water will cure your thirst. It only dehydrates you further. The system weaponizes this biological drive. It gives you a roadmap to nowhere, promising that the next mile marker is the one where the scenery changes. It never changes. Epicurus, the ancient Greek philosopher often potentially misunderstood as a hedonist, actually preached the opposite of modern accumulation. He distinguished between natural and necessary desires, food, shelter, friends, and vain and empty desires, fame, excessive wealth, status. He taught that the greatest obstacle to happiness is infinite desire. When you tie your happiness to a number that has no ceiling, you guarantee yourself a life of psychological poverty. If your goal is more, you can never have enough. More is not a number, it is a horizon. You cannot reach the horizon, you can only die marching toward it. Heidegger spoke of the Das Man, the they, the faceless anonymous crowd that dictates how we should live. They say you need a bigger house. They say you are a failure if you don't retire by 40. They say your value is your net worth. When you live for money, you are living an inauthentic life scripted by Das Man. You have abdicated your own existence, your Dasein, to become a cog in a machine that does not care about you. You are sacrificing your unique, finite time on earth to impress an invisible audience that is not watching. Consider the metaphor of the golden sarcophagus. Imagine you are building a magnificent structure around yourself. You are laying bricks of gold, one by one. You work 18 hours a day to afford these bricks. You neglect your health to lift them. You miss your children's youth to polish them. You alienate your friends to secure them. The wall gets higher and higher. People looking from the outside are amazed. They applaud. Look at that golden castle, they shout. But from the inside, the light is getting dimmer. The air is getting stale. The space is getting smaller. You are not building a castle. You are building a tomb, a sarcophagus of success. You are walling yourself in with your own ambition. And the tragedy is that you are holding the trowel. You are the architect of your own suffocation. The gold is cold. It cannot hug you back. It cannot listen to your fears. It cannot laugh at your jokes. It is dead matter, and you are trading your living essence to acquire it. Every hour you spend doing work you hate to buy things you don't need is an hour you are stealing from your own life. It is an act of violence against the self. You are cannibalizing your own existence. You are like the erodes, the snake, eating its own tail, believing that it is being fed when it is actually consuming itself. Beware the destination trap. Oh no, man. This is the lie that says, I will live when the mortgage is paid. I will live when the kids are in college. I will live when the business is sold. This is the logic of the graveyard. Life is not a deferred annuity. Life is immediate. It is happening right now as you listen to these words. The breath entering your lungs, the sensation of gravity, the beat of your heart. This is it. This is the show. There is no dress rehearsal. Bronnie Ware, A palliative care nurse who spent years with people in the last weeks of their lives recorded their top regrets. Number one was not, "I wish I had made more money." It was, "I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me." Number two was, "I wish I hadn't worked so hard." Let that sink in. The people who have seen the finish line, who have no reason to lie, who have stripped away all the ego and the pretense, tell us the exact same thing. The pursuit was a trap. They missed the sunsets. They missed the conversations. They missed the simple, quiet joy of being because they were too busy doing. They were too busy securing a future that, when it finally arrived, was just the end. If this resonates, consider subscribing. Do not let the system gaslight you into thinking that financial freedom is the only kind of freedom. There is a freedom deeper than liquidity. It is the freedom of presence. It is the freedom of not needing more to be okay. It is the freedom of integrity. So, what is the new paradigm? It is the shift from standard of living to quality of life. These are often inversely correlated. You can have a high standard of living, luxury cars, mansions, first-class flights, and a terrible quality of life. High stress, no time, shallow relationships, poor health. Conversely, you can have a modest standard of living and an extraordinary quality of life, time affluence, deep connection, robust health, peace of mind. The new paradigm honors the currency of time over the currency of money. Money can be printed. Money can be earned back. Time is non-renewable. Every second you trade for money is a second gone forever. When you look at a price tag, do not see dollars. See hours of your life. Is that luxury watch worth 3 months of your freedom? Is that bigger house worth 10 years of missing dinner with your family? When you do the math in life hours, the glamour fades and the reality sets in. You must begin to value your existential equity. This is the sum of your experiences, your connections, your memories, and your peace. This is the only wealth you can take with you when you die. In the Egyptian Book of the Dead, it is said that the heart is weighed against a feather. They do not weigh your wallet, they weigh your lightness of being. Are you heavy with regret and greed, or are you light with love and truth? I hear your objections. I feel the resistance rising in your chest. But I have responsibilities, you say. I have mouths to feed. I can't just stop working. I live in the real world. I am not telling you to starve. I am not telling you to be irresponsible. I am validating the fear. The system is designed to make you terrified of poverty so that you will submit to slavery. It is a valid fear. But there is a difference between working for survival and working for status. There is a difference between enough and more. Most of the pressure you feel is not survival. It is performative. It is the cost of maintaining an image. It is the cost of the neighborhood, the private school, the brand names. These are choices, not laws of physics. You are trapped in a cage with the door unlocked, but you are too afraid to push it open because outside the terrain is uncertain. You have fallen in love with your chains because they are gilded. Let me tell you a story about a man we will call Julian. Julian was a partner at a top law firm. He was the envy of his circle. He made 7 figures. He had the penthouse, the summer home, the trophy spouse. He was the archetype of success. But Julian had a secret. He hadn't slept through the night in 10 years. He took pills to wake up and pills to sleep. He drank to numb the buzzing in his head. One Tuesday, Julian was in a meeting closing a deal worth millions. He looked at the paperwork, and suddenly, the words lost all meaning. They looked like alien hieroglyphs. The buzzing in his head became a roar. He stood up, walked out of the conference room, walked out of the building, and sat on a park bench. He sat there for 6 hours. He watched a bird building a nest. He watched the wind move through the trees. He realized, with the force of a physical blow, that the bird was more successful than he was. The bird knew exactly what it was doing and why. Julian had no idea who he was anymore. He went home and told his wife he was quitting. She left him 3 months later. She had married the partner, not the man on the park bench. He lost the penthouse. He lost the status. But Julian gained his life. He downsized to a small apartment. He started working a modest job that he left at the door at 5 p.m. He started reading again. He started tasting his food. He reconnected with his estranged daughter. He told me once, "I used to be a millionaire who was poor. Now I have nothing, and I am the richest man I know." Julian died to his false self so that his real self could breathe. He stopped expanding and started deepening. This is the metaphor of transformation, the forest fire. Sometimes a forest becomes too dense. The underbrush is too thick. The dead wood piles up. No light can reach the forest floor. Nothing new can grow. Nature sends fire. It looks destructive. It looks like the end. But the fire burns away the dead wood. It clears the canopy. The ash fertilizes the soil. And from that blackened, empty ground, new life springs up, stronger, greener, more vibrant than before. Your obsession with money is the dead wood. Your ego is the dense canopy blocking the light. You might need a fire. You might need a crisis, a burnout, a loss, a realization to burn it all down. Do not fear the fire. The fire is the only thing that can save you from the suffocation of the status quo. Embrace the decomposition of your ambition. Let the false dreams rot so that a true purpose can grow. You must learn to inhabit the void. When you stop chasing, there will be silence. And that silence will be terrifying at first. It will be filled with the ghosts of your unhealed trauma and your neglected self. This is why you run. This is why you work. To avoid the silence, but you must turn and face it. You must sit in the empty room of your own soul and refuse to leave until you make friends with the occupant. If this resonates, consider subscribing. So how do we operationalize this? How do we move from philosophy to practice without becoming monks or hermits? First, you must conduct a desire audit. Go through every recurring expense and every goal you have. Ask yourself, is this mine or was this planted in me? Did you really want that luxury car? Or did the marketing algorithm tell you that you wanted it to feel powerful? Did you really want the promotion? Or did your father's voice in your head tell you that you are worthless without it? Ruthlessly eliminate the desires that are not indigenous to your soul. Strip away the vanity. Second, practice memento mori. Remember, you will die. This is not morbid, it is clarifying. Carry the awareness of your death in your pocket like a coin. When you are deciding whether to take that overtime project or go to your friend's wedding, touch the coin. Ask the death version of yourself. The death version never cares about the profit margin. The death version cares about the memories. Use death as a scalpel to cut away the bullshit. Third, redefine asset class. Your health is an asset. Your peace of mind is an asset. Your ability to sleep soundly is an asset. Your friendships are an asset. Diversify your portfolio into these non-monetary assets. Invest in them with the same rigor you invest in the stock market. Compound interest applies to relationships too. If you ignore them for 20 years, you will end up with a zero balance when you need them most. Fourth, set a enough point. The system relies on the goalpost moving. You must bolt the goalpost to the ground. Define a number that covers your needs and basic comforts. When you hit it, stop optimizing for accumulation and start optimizing for autonomy. Buy your time back. Reduce your overhead. A smaller life often holds a larger freedom. The smaller your financial footprint, the harder you are to enslave. Fifth, cultivate deep leisure. Not Netflix, not scrolling. Those are anesthetics. Deep leisure is active. It is creation, connection, learning, movement. It is doing things for their own sake, not for an outcome. Play an instrument badly. Write poetry that no one will read. Walk in the woods with no destination. Reclaim the part of your brain that knows how to play without being paid. Understand that the system is a matrix of extraction. It extracts your labor, your attention, and your data, and converts it into capital for someone else. When you refuse to play the game of more, you become a glitch in the matrix. You become dangerous. A person who is content cannot be controlled. A person who does not need stuff to feel worthy cannot be manipulated. By reclaiming your happiness from the marketplace, you're engaging in an act of rebellion. You are stepping out of the timeline of the worker bee and into the timeline of the human being. You are moving from chronos, sequential, industrial time, to kairos, deep, opportune, qualitative time. This path is not easy. You will be judged. People will call you lazy or unambitious or crazy. They will project their own insecurities onto you because your freedom reminds them of their cage. Let them. Their judgment is the sound of the system trying to correct the anomaly. Walk away. Imagine yourself at the very end. The room is quiet. The machines are beeping. You are drifting in and out of consciousness. In that final twilight, what will haunt you? Will you regret not buying the vacation home? Will you regret not making partner? No. You will regret the love you didn't express. You will regret the vulnerability you didn't show. You will regret the hours you gave to a corporation that replaced you within a week of your funeral. But you are not there yet. You are here. The chest is rising and falling. The heart is beating. You have the most precious thing in the universe. You have time. You have the ability to change the trajectory right now. You can put down the golden brick. You can step out of the sarcophagus. The pursuit of money at the expense of life is a collective psychosis. We are all hallucinating that paper is more valuable than breath. Snap out of it. Look at your hands. Look at the sky. Look at the eyes of the people you love. That is the treasure. That is the kingdom. Everything else is just set decoration. You have spent enough time building a life that looks good. It is time to build a life that feels good. It is time to stop preparing to live and actually start living. The money was never the goal. The money was just the ticket. Don't sit in the lobby holding the ticket for 80 years. Enter the theater. Watch the movie. Be the protagonist. The void you feel is not a lack of funds. It is a lack of you. Come home to yourself. The door is open. You wake up at 3 a.m. The room is pitch black, but your mind is flooded with white-hot static. This is the witching hour of the anxious achiever. It is the time when the distractions of the day fade away, the emails stop pinging, the calls stop coming, and you are left alone with the raw data of your existence. In this silence, the lie becomes unbearable. You stare at the ceiling, calculating. You calculate net worth, you calculate runway, you calculate interest rates. But underneath the math, you are calculating something else. How much longer can I do this? Your body knows the truth before your mind admits it. The chronic back pain, the tightness in the chest, the shallow breathing, the autoimmune flare-ups. These are not random malfunctions. These are rejection letters from your own biology. Your nervous system was not evolved to sustain the level of chronic low-grade threat required to maintain a high-status career in late-stage capitalism. You are a biological organism designed for hunting, gathering, and connecting, forcing yourself into the shape of a microprocessor designed for efficiency and output. The friction between who you are and what you do is grinding your bones to dust. You are suffering from what the French sociologist Émile Durkheim called anomie, a condition of instability resulting from a breakdown of standards and values or from a lack of purpose or ideals. In your pursuit of more, you have untethered yourself from the natural rhythms of life. You have replaced the sun and the moon with the fiscal quarter and the deadline. You have replaced the tribe with the network. You have replaced meaning with metrics. And the result is a profound disorientation. You are climbing a ladder that is floating in a void. Consider the sunk cost fallacy. This is the economic principle that says we continue a behavior or endeavor as a result of previously invested resources, time, money, or effort. You have spent 10, 15, 20 years building this career. You have a degree on the wall. You have a reputation. To walk away now feels like setting fire to a pile of cash. The system relies on this fallacy. It knows that you will protect your past investment even if it destroys your future happiness. You are guarding a pile of chips you've already lost. You tell yourself, I've come too far to quit, but look at where you are. If you're standing at the edge of a cliff, taking one more step forward because you've come this far is not persistence. It is suicide. Real courage is the ability to look at 20 years of effort, realize it was spent on the wrong mountain, and walk back down to the valley to start over. Nietzsche spoke of the lion stage of metamorphosis, the spirit that shouts no, I welcome to the great dragon thou shalt. The dragon on your scales is covered in gold, and on every scale is written, thou shalt succeed, thou shalt accumulate, thou shalt be envied. You must become the lion. You must roar no to the dragon to reclaim your right to create your own values. If this resonates, consider subscribing. Let's dissect the golden handcuffs. This is the most insidious trap because it feels like a hug. The system rewards your compliance with comfort. Heated seats, concierge service, exclusive access. These comforts soften the edges of your cage. They make the intolerable tolerable. You stop noticing the lack of freedom because the cell is upholstered in velvet. But comfort is not happiness. Comfort is often the enemy of aliveness. When you are too comfortable, you atrophy. You stop growing. You stop feeling. You become a last man, as Nietzsche described, a human who has invented happiness in the form of small pleasures and security, blinking contentedly while the fire of the human spirit goes out. Is that your destiny? To blink and consume until the lights go out? Or do you crave the storm, the risk, the raw texture of reality? The pursuit of money demands that you view other human beings as instrumental. Every interaction becomes a transaction. What can this person do for me? Is this a high-value network connection? You begin to commodify kindness. You network instead of making friends. You manage your spouse instead of loving them. You optimize your children instead of raising them. This transactional mindset rots your soul from the inside out. It isolates you behind a wall of strategy. You are never truly naked, never truly vulnerable, because vulnerability is poor leverage. But deep down, you know that the moments that actually mattered in your life had zero economic value. The time you laughed until your stomach hurt, the time you held a dying hand, the time you watched a thunderstorm roll in over the ocean. These moments were free. They were inefficient. They produced no ROI. And yet, they are the only things that were real. The system cannot monetize awe. It cannot monetize grief. It cannot monetize deep love. So it tries to distract you from them. It keeps you busy chasing the artificial highs so you don't notice the free miracles all around you. Let's talk about the shadow life. Jung warned us that the unlived life is a destructive force. The parts of you that you repress in order to be professional and successful do not disappear. They go into the basement. The artist, the poet, the wild lover, the mystic, they are down there in the dark, starving. And a starving animal eventually becomes a beast. This is why we see the midlife crisis. It is the shadow breaking down the door. It is the unlived life demanding to be heard. You buy the sports car not because you like cars, but because you want to feel speed. You want to feel the danger you have engineered out of your sterile existence. You have the affair not because you don't love your partner, but because you want to feel seen for who you are, not for what you provide. You blow up your life because your soul would rather live in chaos than in a coffin. Why wait for the explosion? Why not open the basement door now? Why not invite the shadow to the table? You can integrate these parts of yourself without destroying your life, but only if you stop worshiping the idol of money. You have to admit that the responsible you is a construct, a mask worn to please a society that wants you to be a predictable producer of GDP. If this resonates, consider subscribing. René Girard's theory of mimetic desire explains why you are never satisfied. You do not desire things because you want them. You desire things because others want them. You want the Tesla because your neighbor wants the Tesla. You want the promotion because your colleague wants the promotion. You are caught in a hall of mirrors, mimicking the desires of people who are mimicking the desires of others. It is a closed loop of envy. Breaking this loop requires a radical act of definition. You must define what a good life looks like to you, in a vacuum. If no one could see your life, if you could post no photos, tell no stories, impress no one, what would you want? Would you still want the mansion if it was invisible? Would you still want the luxury brand if the logo was removed? Most of your desires would evaporate. What remains is the truth. What remains is usually simple: health, autonomy, connection, nature, creativity. This brings us to the concept of amor fati, love of fate. The Stoics and Nietzsche urged us not just to bear our life, but to love it, to love the struggle, the limitations, the reality of it. The pursuit of money is often a rejection of fate. It is a refusal to accept the present. It is a no to reality. You're saying, I will love my life only if it looks like this brochure. True liberation is looking at your life right now, with the small bank account, the aging car, the uncertainty, and saying, yes, loving it because it is yours, loving it because it is the medium through which you experience the universe. When you stop fighting your reality and start inhabiting it, a strange alchemy occurs. The need for more dissolves into gratitude for what is. You are afraid that if you stop chasing, you will become nothing. This is the fear of the void. But the void is not empty. The void is pregnant with potential. In Eastern philosophy, the void, sunyata, is the source of all form. By clearing the clutter of ambition, you create space for inspiration. You create space for serendipity. You cannot receive a new gift if your hands are tightly clenched around the old coins. Open your hands, drop the coins. See what falls into your palms when you are not grasping. You must become a time billionaire. Poor. A billion seconds is roughly 31 years. If you are 40, you might have a billion seconds left, maybe less. How are you spending this currency? Are you trading it for paper? Are you trading it for stress? Or are you trading it for joy? When you view time as your primary capital, you realize that the billionaire on the yacht who hates his life and has terminal cancer is bankrupt. And the gardener who loves the smell of the soil and has 50 years left is the tycoon. Flip the hierarchy. Status is a game for prisoners. Freedom is the game for the sovereign. Let me give you a practical protocol for deprogramming. Day 1, the media fast. Cut the inputs. No news, no financial feeds, no social media. Silence the voices telling you what you lack. Day 2, the gratitude audit. Walk through your house, touch everything you own, thank it for serving you. Realize how much abundance you already sit in. You are likely living better than kings did 200 years ago. You have hot water, refrigeration, antibiotics, music on demand. You are drowning in miracles that you have labeled as baseline. Day 3, the deathbed visualization. Close your eyes. Fast forward to the very end. Who is standing around the bed? What are they saying? Write your own eulogy. Not the resume version, the real version. He was a VP of sales who increased margin by 4%? No, he was a father who always had time to listen. She was a woman who made art that touched us. If your current life is not writing that eulogy, change the script today. If this resonates, consider subscribing. The system wants you to believe that you are a consumer, but you are a creator. You were born to make, to do, to express, not just to buy. When you shift from consumption to creation, the itch for more money subsides. Creation generates its own dopamine. Writing a song, building a garden, cooking a meal, fixing a bike, these acts restore your agency. They remind you that you can affect the world, not just react to it. Beware the retirement lie. The idea that you can hate your life for 40 years to buy 15 years of freedom at the end is a scam. Who guaranteed you those 15 years? Who guaranteed your hips will work? Who guaranteed your mind will be sharp? And even if you get them, you will have forgotten how to live. You will be a workaholic with no work, staring into the abyss of a golf course, wondering why you feel so empty. Retire now, not from work, but from the drudgery. Retire from the stress. Find work that feels like play. Find work that contributes. It might pay less. So what? You will need less. You will not need to buy expensive toys to comfort yourself for the misery of your job. You will not need expensive vacations to escape your life because you won't want to escape your life. This is the integrity dividend. When your internal values match your external actions, you gain a surplus of energy. You stop leaking power. You sleep better. You laugh easier. Your immune system strengthens. This is wealth, real biological, spiritual wealth. The ultimate rebellion against the matrix is to be happy with a simple life. to sit on a plastic chair in the sun, drinking a cheap cup of coffee and feeling absolutely complete. When you can do that, you are invincible. The system has no hooks in you. You are free. You are standing at a crossroads. One path is paved with gold, but it leads to a cliff. The other path is overgrown, winding and uncertain, but it leads to the ocean. The golden path is crowded. Everyone is pushing and shoving. The winding path is quiet. Take the winding path. Walk away from the shimmering mirage. It will be hard. Your ego will scream. Your friends will worry. But step by step, the air will get cleaner. The noise will fade, and you will remember who you were before they told you who you had to be. The money was just a story. You are the author. Turn the page.